welcome to Matt Gamecast episode 22. I'm John as always, and with me today is the lovely Lily. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Also good, also good. In about an hour or so, I'm going to go pick up my brother and his two kids, my niece and nephew, from the bus, coming from
Very
the airport.
nice.
Some family time. They're visiting from overseas, so that'll be cool. I've got some board games for them. We'll see. That'll be fun. It's not video games, but it's board games. It's kind of game, you know.
That's still a game.
Yeah.
I don't have any plans, so I'm just hanging out.
Hanging out's good. I was actually just playing a board game. That's also or setting one up, rather. Before I realized I forgot about that AFK thing that triggers the AFK cave.
Right.
It's a setting somewhere in Discord. I forget even what it is. I'm going to have to go check that out later. I think I'll just turn it off so that doesn't happen again.
It's in server settings somewhere in there.
Right. Thank you. I was looking at personal settings. Why am I trying to do this live? No idea. I'm going to forget about that. Today, we are here to talk about more than random Discord settings. We're going to do a little 2021 kind of review, maybe our favorite stuff, our favorite game or games, or hardware or software, anything, service, whatever it might be, and maybe some tidbits towards 2022, like maybe a game we're looking forward to or some sort of release or tech or anything like that. So for yourself, obviously, we're still in weird times. Everyone's busy. But have you, how has your 2021 been in review? Have you managed to play any good games or pick up anything? Can you pick out something as a favorite?
Yeah, no, there have definitely been a few games that stood out to me throughout the year. I guess recently Halo Infinite came out. That was pretty cool. No spoilers for the single player, since A, I'm just getting into it, and B, I know most people will not have finished it yet.
Right,
but
it just got released.
Yeah, it is a very fun game. I'd say it is probably near my favorite campaign. I can't say for sure yet that it's my favorite, but it's up there for sure. The multiplayer, also very fun. I can't play too much of it at a time, but it is very fun. Let's see here.
Just before you move on really quick, what about the campaign is making it your favorite one, or you think?
So I would say that it kind of brings back the Halo 1 sort of vastness of the world.
Oh, nice.
And the world is very open. And it's not only because it is an open world game, but it actually feels like you're on this massive alien structure, the Halo ring, and you're exploring it, you're fighting through the Banished and all that. So it's very it's got that scope, basically. And then the gunplay is just very nice. It feels sci-fi, but it also feels real.
Maybe right, like a little military or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Nice.
And then lastly, just the graphics and everything, and just the way everything handles. It just feels very nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been peeking it. And I haven't played it yet, but I get what you mean by the Halo 1 vibes, because I had the same impression. I'm this is the first Halo I'm actually kind of excited to play since Halo 1. I don't really, to varying degrees, Halo 2, 3, 4, and ODST, none of them are bad games, but I find myself hard to say they're all, any of them are great or amazing Halo games. To me, personally. There's obviously people who disagree here. I know, I'm pretty sure, Halo 3 multiplayer was super popular, and stuff like that. But Halo Reach had a fairly good campaign, but it's also what do you call it? It has the prequel problem of you already know exactly what's going to happen, and you're just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah.
The fall of Reach and everything. It's still cool, but there's no surprises or anything like that. It's just kind of a heroic, noble last stand kind of a thing. So, still good, but I'm looking forward to checking out Infinite as well sometime. So glad you're giving it a lot of praise. That makes me hyped.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the $60 for the campaign, and then the multiplayer is free. So yeah.
Right, right. We talked a little bit about multiplayer, single player separation. I think you were there a couple episodes ago. I think that's an interesting approach. I think it's a smarter approach because some people don't want the campaign. Maybe some people only want the campaigns. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
hmm Um, yeah, and then I don't know if you want to talk about a game that you've liked that's of late, or if you want me to
Yeah,
list
we
off
can.
a few
Yeah,
other things.
we can take turns. We can take turns.
Yeah, back and forth.
Mostly gamey stuff. Yeah, I don't have any like big AAA stuff this year. I don't think. Probably indies were more things that had an impression on me. Let me see. I did play through some triple. Well, that's not true. I did play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that was really, really good. My other picks are Mac-specific games. Valhalla, of course, I just played it through GeForce Now on their new 3080 tier, so that was pretty cool. 1440p, 120 FPS and stuff. Looks really good. But yeah, just a super fun game. We haven't had Assassin's Creed game on the Mac in quite a while. I'm hoping they would start porting them again. They ported 3 of the games, Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and... No, they didn't port 1. They ported Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed like Rome, which is not quite Assassin's Creed. Brotherhood,
yeah.
Thank you. I know I had that wrong. So we got a few of them way back in the day, not since then. But anyway, you know, we've talked about this. Mac gaming is what it is. At this point, it's pretty easy to hop on another service. So GeForce Now is my go-to, and yeah, runs incredibly well through that service. And it's just, Epic's always running sales. You can't get it on Steam. It's only on Epic Store right now for whatever reason. But just a really fun game. I love a Viking theme. I was picking between Valhalla or Odyssey. I do love Greek stuff and mythology, but the Vikings stuff's too good to pass up. It's got a pretty epic campaign, some really interesting like stories and character relationships actually, and you can make certain choices whether they're like kind of like betray your friends or not, and maybe who you romance or who you support. And it's a little ridiculous because you land in England, and then the whole point of the campaign is to basically take over all of England.
Yeah.
So I mean, that happened. They conquered parts of it back then, but not all of it. So in this game, you literally like take over all of England. It's hilarious. So that's a little ridiculous in that sense, but damn, it's fun. And the combat's amazing. I think we were texting about it some weeks ago or whatever, and you said you had seen some videos. It's pretty darn awesome, I gotta say. It's true they've kind of thrown all the stealth out the window. You still have a hidden blade. You can kind of, sneak around and snipe guys with your bow, which is fun. But most of the work was clearly put into like the raw combat, like getting in there and fighting, because it's pretty nuanced. Tons of abilities. You can do cool, like, I don't know. You can like pick up random weapons off the ground and throw them at people. You can get this fun grappling hook to like yank people around the battlefield. You can do like sneak insta kills with the right gear and levels and everything. It's pretty varied. You can just kind of go into combat, because you know how a lot of these action RPGs, you just maybe spam the same ability over and over in a lot of games. This game, it doesn't take long to level up till it's really varied, and you can kind of fight like a whole squad of people or bandits or guards or whatever, and kind of like fight each one a different way, which is cool. You can even do nuanced things like switch if you're running two-handed with a sword and shield, or like a hammer and axe or something, because you have an offhand and a primary hand. So you can do a cool skill where you can actually switch your weapons with your hands, and you just like toss them between your hands really quick. So like maybe, I don't know, you're chopping up some dudes who just has a sword, but then like some armored or shielded jerk comes along. You can like throw the hammer into your primary hand and like smash his shield or armor up, switch back to your axe or sword or whatever, and like skewer him. And it's just the combat's full of fun little details, and also the terrain, and it's also a fun world to explore. Just hop on your horse, you just standard stuff, whistle for your horse, and off you go. And
yeah,
good story, good combat. I had a lot of fun with it. It's almost too big of a game. I mean, I played it for like 30, 40 hours. I mean, I think you could play it for 100. And they have like 3 DLC packs. Each one adds like another 40 hours of gameplay. So you can kind of spend like the rest of your life in Valhalla if you wanted.
Yeah. No, I've definitely seen a lot of good stuff about that game. I'm still crawling through the last bits of Odyssey, and once I'm done with that, I'm definitely going to look at Valhalla.
Nice. Yeah, I like that it continues Odysseys. You can pick to be male or female again. I think that's a very smart choice because why not?
Mhm.
Also, there was lots of female Vikings. I don't know about lots, but they certainly were there. So it's very. It can't be like this. I don't know, World War One thing where people complain like there weren't women soldiers out there or something, or whatever. People
Yeah.
were complaining about some of the battlefields. It's like, oh, there was definitely Viking chicks out there swinging axes into faces. So it's pretty.
It was a non-insignificant number.
Yeah, exactly. So that's cool. The game's just well voice acted. Graphics are nice. Music's phenomenal. Like really, really good music. Yeah, super cool game. And there is, in fact, some link between Odyssey and Valhalla. Ha ha ha. But you'll have to play it to see. But if you are a fan
Yeah.
of Odyssey and played through it, there's a few things you'll pick up on. So that's nice. So it was like my big AAA experience of the year. I had a few others, but they weren't really worth mentioning. Marvel Avengers was kind of meh. I played through it on sale, but hardly worth
Yeah.
the time, honestly. It was okay, but not enough for me to like talk about. So back to you.
Um. So the other two of my favorite releases in 2021 were actually re-releases.
Ooh.
So, Rome Total War Remastered and Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Both of those came out this year, and I had a lot of fun with Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I once again played all the way through all three games,
Oh,
and
snap. Tell me, okay, I want to hear more about this as a fellow Mass Effect fanatic. Um, yeah, I don't know. Was it kind of like revisiting an old love or something, or was it like really fresh and new? Kind of how was that?
yeah, it was still very new. It felt at least one and two
Hmm.
felt a lot smoother, especially one. Um, I have never before the Legendary Edition. I have never gone through and played every single side mission and explored every single planet and you know did everything I possibly could with Mass Effect One.
Right.
But then with the Legendary Edition, I actually was able to do that. Like I guess mentally, I was able to do it because in the original Mass Effect One, like I guess at the time it would have been considered good, but
Hmm.
just playing it after having already played Mass Effect 2, it's like okay, the combat feels weird, the Mako handles like absolute hell,
Hmm.
so exploring planets is just so hard. Um, exploration is just kind of there's a lot of emptiness and you have to find
Right.
these things versus with the legendary edition they already marked everything of interest on the map. um like they even like just small quality of life things like the elevators because the elevators in the original Mass Effect 1 was actually the loading screen.
Right, right. And
And
that was
so
funny.
because the engine could only handle so much loading, it doesn't matter if you're playing it on like a high speed computer from 2021, it's still gonna take forever to load, and so you're just standing there in the elevator. But now they actually have the engine so that you're not standing in the elevator for like minutes.
Right. With like that crappy elevator music and like random squad comments or something.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it just looks so much better. They did a lot of visual updates. It's
Nice.
still obviously a remaster. Like it's not going to be top of the line graphics,
Right.
but it looks so much better.
Yeah, considering what the original was out in like 2007 or maybe 2008. I forget exactly what year. 2007. No, it was 2008, I think.
2007, I think it
Okay,
was.
2000. Oh, it
Yeah.
was November 7th, 2007, I believe. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
end of '07. Yeah. So having played through them all again, have you settled on like a favorite game, or maybe did you like try totally like different choices or anything, or like Paragon versus Renegade, or like compared to your original run? I mean, of the original games.
I only played through it once. And well, just because I've been so busy, I don't really have time to do the whole multiple playthroughs thing again unless I want to like
Yeah,
completely distract myself from my other games that I'm also trying to play through. So,
sure.
but I kind of just did the sort of like my favorite thing to do in the original games just to see what what it could, what it felt like in the new games, like old versus new.
Yeah.
And it definitely felt a lot better. And I did my usual biotic Vanguard playthrough
Oh, nice.
with a full Paragon.
Right, nice.
I know you prefer Renegade, but I
do, but Vanguard is the best class in my opinion. I usually do less biotic stuff, I think. I'm usually do more like assault mix, but biotics are really fun to mess around with in the game because the physics are not bad. Even in Mass Effect 1, the physics weren't too bad, if I recall. Like using the biotic lifts and pushes and black holes and all that jazz. Good stuff. So did you have like obviously the Legendary Edition gives you all 3 games. You don't buy them individually. But do you have a favorite game at the end, like after playing through them all again?
So before, I would have solidly have said Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
After playing the remaster, I would say Mass Effect 1 is pretty on par with 2 now.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, because I would...
Mass Effect 3, only the Citadel DLC is up there as well.
Yeah, that's, I think, pretty much all Mass Effect fans would agree with that. I think 2 is the general consensus as like the king or queen, whatever have you, of the trilogy, but that was before the remaster, so I'm actually very interested. I almost bought it on sale recently, but again, I still have a backlog of games. I'm like, no, don't buy any big new games until you like push through your backlog. Of course, then I went and bought like AC Valhalla, but I also I've never played Valhalla, whereas I technically have played Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 before. But a long time ago, of course you were able to maintain your save file through games 1 and 2 into 3, right? Or
yes,
2 and 3, technically.
And it's a lot smoother now. Like before, you had to have if you didn't have your save file in the right folder, then it's like, okay, time to go hunting for this.
Yeah.
And copy and paste it, all that stuff. And,
it
was now, since it's all technically one game. Like when you download Legendary Edition, it downloads everything.
That's cool. So it's like one launcher. Okay.
Yeah. So it shares all the game files, so you don't have to worry about any.
Oh, that's great. I like that a lot. Does it pop up with like a launcher and then say like play Mass Effect 1, 2, or 3, or does it just load into like a main menu and then you select it?
Yeah, you load into a main menu and then it gives you the option of 1, 2, or 3. Right.
Kind of like the Halo Master Chief Edition, where it's like all the games in one launcher and you kind of choose which one to download and then play.
Yep.
Probably something like that. That's cool. That's rad. All right, I'm going to yak about a game for a bit, but yeah, I can't. I almost forgot about the Legendary. I'll probably end up playing through that next year at some point. Yeah, too good to pass up. Mass Effect stuff. Back on going into some indie stuff, and this is some actual Mac stuff. We had some pretty nice releases this year in the indie space. 2 that stand out to me. I'll pick one for now, which is Frostpunk. It's technically a game, I think, from 2019 or maybe 2020 on the PC, but they only ported it to Mac this year for whatever reason. I don't know why these companies do or don't do things or delay, but anyway, it's a really interesting like steampunk post-apocalyptic city sort of society builder sim thing, but instead of being your like Mad Max apocalyptic sort of that's like kind of the quote-unquote traditional apocalyptic scenarios, this one's totally different in that it's a like extreme winter. Like mostly there's frozen over, everyone's freezing to death, can't grow food, because everything's just buried in snow, and so people are basically just trying to survive the extreme winter. So you end up, I don't know, there's some story intro about, I think you're on some ships or a bunch of people died and the survivors gathered and you found a like kind of a valley crevice hole thing. I don't know what the word is, kind of like something sheltered a bit from the extreme wind and snow and stuff. So you just start off and have to build up this city, and of course you have a big like furnace reactor. I'm terrible with my names on this game, in the center of your city, which of course needs coal. So you have to always be cautious of your heat level and warming your city and buildings and people. And you have so many people and also kids you can assign as workers. It's kind of like a worker placement management game as well. There's not really, it's blending multiple genres in one, so there's no like, it doesn't fit into one box you can neatly describe. But it's meant to be very challenging, basically, because yeah, my first run, I lost pretty quickly, and my own people like exiled me out into the snow for being incompetent. And I like died alone in the snow of frostbite or something horrible. That was my first play. Because everyone was like starving and freezing, and they're like, "Oh, we're fed up with this guy. Get someone else in there." So then I played again, of course, with some better knowledge and setup, and I managed to complete a run. So tough game, but it's cool. You know, it's one of those things where you have like tech trees you can build up and more advanced buildings. You know, starting out with a really basic wood mill or a mine, and then getting like a steam powered one, and or maybe you install heaters in it so the workers are happier and warmer and. Because, you know, people can get starving, they can fall sick, and then once they fall sick, then suddenly you need like medical tents and assigning, you know, doctors and nurses or staff to look after them. So the game's kind of organic in a way where you only need things when you need them. So if nobody's sick yet, you don't need like a medical tent or whatever. But then, you know, or maybe the first time somebody dies, well, then suddenly you have to decide what you want to do with your dead. Do you bury them or do you burn them? So the game has these like small branching paths, which then open up new buildings or maybe new like laws or rules you have to implement, or like promises to the people will pop up and you can kind of resolve how to deal with them. And that may make them happier or less happy because you have to manage their like happiness and warmth. And there's all these things to manage. It's a fairly complex game. But I like that it has these like organic, like branching paths in the game. And then you can choose to be like really hardcore law and order to keep people in line, or like authoritarian, or you can go religious, get religion and build churches and, you know, have priests and all this
and a
stuff.
cult.
And a cult. Yeah. The game looks really good. I also I'm biased towards any game that has like lots of winter and snow. I love it. So this game is just pure that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's a fun, challenging puzzle. And there's multiple scenarios and difficulty levels, so you can replay and, you know, you're forced to take different strategies, or maybe there's a totally different objective. Like there was a really interesting one where you have no people. There's only automatons, like automated worker robot things. And it's a really cold place, but you're protecting seed banks and they have to survive. I guess the goal is to like, you're starting indoor greenhouses and stuff, something like that, so you can grow food. So you have to go through this really extreme winter out in like an open plain, but with these like seed bank buildings and these automated robots, and you're kind of short on workers, but the automatons can work 24/7 because of course they don't need to sleep. So the game has some very interesting puzzles aside from like the main one. So there's several in the main game, and then there's a bunch of expansion content, which I didn't play, but is fairly well rated, I think. Yeah, and they're already making a Frostpunk 2. It's in development, and last time I checked, it was like in the top 5 or something of all wishlisted games on Steam. It was like super popular. Yeah. Anyway, Frostpunk, pretty cool. Check it out if you like survival, like city building management type stuff with like a interesting apocalyptic theme, not your usual one.
Yeah. Definitely another game that I wanted to look at. I actually got it through, I think, like a Twitch giveaway.
Right.
On GOG, I think it is.
Right, good old games, yeah. GOG. Yeah, it's fun. Probably not a game you'd play like, I mean, okay, some people might play it forever. For me, I was content to put like 10 or 15 hours into it. Play several runs, play around, try a few strategies. Like, I'm not like a hardcore, you know, like city builder, economic, survival, managey kind of guy. I enjoy it, but I don't enjoy it as like a main game genre kind of thing. So I was really happy with it for what it was. I'm probably not going to check it out until Frostpunk 2 comes along, and then I'll get that for sure. But yeah, like, as I've gotten older and I have less time for like kind of just spending all my time on one game forever, I actually really appreciate like these more bite-sized or like, let's say like 8 to 15 hour kind of experiences that are like really satisfying, and you don't you don't feel like you need to grind more or dump more time into the game to kind of get your money's worth or like complete it, quote unquote, or whatever I mean, or whatever, something like that. So I was really happy with Frostpunk for what it was, even though I didn't like keep playing it a ton. I think it's really good for what it is.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely looking forward to getting some time to play it. That's the biggest thing. It's time.
It is. It's the greatest enemy of all, at least adult gamers. Maybe not necessarily like younger people who don't need to work yet or whatever. Maybe you just have to deal with school or something. I mean, people, not to say people who are in school aren't busy. They're busy too, but typically you have more time to play games when you're younger, on average. It's usually true. Yeah. Frostpunk's cool. Did you have any other games you wanted to yak about? Standouts, favorite stuff for the year?
I think honestly, that's kind of it. I did not play a lot of video games this year. I was very, very busy for the most part.
You're a busy lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, Army keeps you busy. How?
And as it so happens, I do need to get going here. I only had 30 minutes free.
Oh yeah, well that was pretty much planned. Do you have like a minute to drop on like, did you have anything, like any particular game you're looking forward to in 2022?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I currently have, I think 3 or 4 games on my wish list I'm looking forward to. There's Warno and Broken Arrow, and I lump those two together because they're both strategy games. They're like war game, or it's kind of like a version of Total War, just very modern.
Right.
One of them is published by Eugen, which has done a lot of RTS games as of late. If you've heard of Steel Division or War Game, they're the ones putting out Warno. And then Broken Arrow is actually made from a bunch of people who were very good at War Game and wanted to see some improvements. And so they went and, along with some ex-Eugen developers, actually made their own game. So both of those are things I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I see a lot of tanks and airplanes and stuff that's right up your alley. Yeah, really cool stuff.
And then Warhammer 40k Darktide, which is literally just Left 4 Dead with Warhammer 40k.
Yes, that's at the top of my list. In my top 3 for sure. The other ones are probably Dying Light 2, which I'm a huge fan of the original game, and I'm hoping they'll port to Mac because they did port the original Dying Light to Mac sometime later. And the other one's Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, like the Borderlands spinoff with Tiny Tina running like as the DM and interfering with your game and stuff.
I have heard of that one as well.
Yeah, looks just like zany, silly kind of D&D shooter mashup kind of thing, basically, because you'll have spells and abilities and classes and create your own character, and should be a lot of fun. And again, they put Borderlands 3 to Mac in like 3 weeks after the PC version, so I'm hoping they'll also just port over Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Both of those two are coming out early next year, February and March, I think. So Darktide is like unknown, just sometime 2022, I think. So it'll be a bit later, but yeah, those are some rad games. Been a weird year, but still, we all managed to have some fun, have some standout games, and got some stuff on our wish list for next year. So not bad at all. Well, thanks for making the time, Lily. Sorry I missed like 10 minutes.
Nope, it's all good.
AFK accidentally. Really appreciate you showing up. If I don't catch you, happy holidays and happy new year and everything.
And same to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Everyone else was busy today. Ted was sick, Sam was busy, and Casper had like family stuff, so
yep, it's that time of year.
It is that time of year. This will just really quick. This will be the last like group podcast for a while because I'm going on a trip early January. Probably just gonna like pre-record some game reviews or something, or I don't know what yet I have in mind. Because the team's probably, unless the team decides to get together and like record without me, but I'm assuming everyone's just going to kind of be busy or whatever. So I'm going to prep some stuff. But yeah, so if there's some unusual podcast or content put out, that's why we resume our regularly scheduled podcast stuff at the end of January. So roughly a month. But I'll set some stuff out to like publish while I'm away on my trip.
Sounds
So
good.
there'll be something for people to download and not think we've gone, we've vanished.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not MIA. We're just taking a step back.
Yeah. Well, between it's Christmas and New Year's, and then I'm leaving in the first week of January. So it's like I'm basically just treating this as the last one of the year and go from there. Okay. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Happy holidays, happy Christmas, happy New Year, and everything. And we will see you next time.
Yep. Have a good holiday season, everyone.
Hooray. Bye.
Bye-bye.
A big thank you to Kevin MacLeod for the intro and outro music. Be sure to check out his library on the web. You can find more episodes of our show on our website, macgamecast.com, or in all major podcast directories. If you enjoy the show, please consider commenting, following, or sharing. Thanks again for listening, and see you next time.